Hello, Emmanuel. Thank you for being in here with us. It's a big honor. We have a great guest, and that is one of the most admired and respected players from the African continent, but not only. For me in
Yes.
particular, it's very special. It's a very special guest, as it was the first player that I identified and as assigned immediately player, and it was today when it wasn't today. It was when I was very young. I was around 12 years old. I was watching Emmanuel playing for the Nigerian national team. I believe it was in the at the African Nations Cup. I believe.
Yeah, that's the Nations Cup in Tunisia in the final against Zambia.
Yeah. I'm quite sure it was that was the match. And then, as a Sporting Lisbon fan that I am, I was 12 years old. There was no internet at the time, and I was thinking to send a letter by post to the club. Watch this player, please. He's fantastic. And but after 1 year, it was very unlikely. You signed because you were playing for
Yes.
For Zamalek at the
For
time.
Zamalek of Egypt, yeah.
Yeah, and then suddenly Sporting was signing you, and and that was fantastic, and I couldn't believe, I was very happy. So thank you for making me happy when I was a child, and thank you for making me happy today that I can speak to you, after all these years. So you make me happy in a child and in adult. It's a big pleasure, and
It's a pleasure.
thank you, thank you
It's
very
a
much.
pleasure.
And thank you for being so kind since the first time we spoke, that you accepted straight away. It's unbelievable, and it's for me it's a big honor. And I can say also thank you, because it was with you that I started my passion for scouting, and also for my scouting career, if I can say it. Of course, I'm still in the process. It's an endless process, like a coach, or only a player you have an end. But because physically but a coach and then the scout, you are learning all your life. So
Yeah, of
never,
course. We are always learning.
always,
As
always.
long as we are living, we are always learning.
That's true. That's true. So after Sporting, Emmanuel signed for Barcelona because he did brilliant at Sporting. He was 3 seasons in there, along other great players, like everybody knows, like José Maria Baquero, that was the team captain, Laurent Blanc, Luis Henrique, Pepe Guardiola, Luis Figo, Ronaldo, the Brazilian. Um, Only great players, and two players that, together with Emmanuel, for me, in my personal opinion, were my childhood idols. That was Risto Stoichkov and Robert Prozinecki. And
Stoichkov.
yeah, exactly. And at the time, he also played, I believe, with Ivan de la Peña. At
Yeah, De La Peña, Popescu from Romania,
oh yeah, George Popescu, Gica
Laurent
Popescu,
Blanc, Fernando Coto,
yeah, Vitor Bahia.
Victor Baye, and a lot, Nadal, Abilado, the former coach of Espanyol.
We can
Well,
imagine.
I was privileged to have played with these great players.
That's true. I believe it's Barcelona now is getting a hard time now. So if you guys were all young, for sure they were gonna get you back, like that
Uh,
dream team.
but it's not possible.
Not possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have to forge ahead.
yeah, that's true. So Emmanuel won several trophies during his career: two Spanish leagues, two Copas del Rey, one Cup Winners' Cup, one European Super Cup, Portuguese Cup, Portuguese Super Cup, two Egyptian leagues, one African Champions League, one African Nations Cup, a gold medal at Atlanta Olympic Games, among others. That's completely impressive. He was also part of possible the best Nigerian national team ever. In my opinion, was the best one. Even the kit that you were wearing, the third kit, I think, or the second, was voted the best kit ever.
The best kit. That was the 1994 jersey,
Yeah,
the white.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So even that, and for me, it was also the best World Cup I ever watched. The '94 was unbelievable. And guys, please watch Emmanuel's. Not only that goal, because you also scored other goals. You scored against Italy also, I believe.
Yeah, Italy.
Against
The
Italy.
game we lost. Yeah.
Yeah, and also you scored against Bulgaria. amazing goal.
Yeah, my first goal was Bulgaria, and then against Greece, I gave assist to Finidi George.
Yeah.
And then against Italy, I scored the first goal before we were not able to maintain the game, and then we lost.
Yeah,
at the end. But that's football.
That's football. Yeah, but it was amazing. The World Cup was amazing. Amazing teams. Even many people were also saying that Colombia also had a great team, but they didn't make far. Nigeria, then Romania had George Agi, and it was different times, but it was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing. So the Super Eagles, of course, the Super Eagles were. Everybody was supporting the Super Eagles at the time, and like I said, please go and watch that goal. It's and watch also other plays by Emmanuel. So Emmanuel, thank you again for being in here. First of all, I'd like to know, if possible, if you can share with us that how it all started for you. And what, first of all, what are you doing currently in football? Are you still linked to football? Can you tell us a bit more how is your life at the moment? How are you doing in the professional part?
Well, I think after my playing career, I think that was 2004. Yeah, I decided to stop playing after a series of injury, and you find out that the body is very difficult, doing things what you normally, does, because I'm an explosive player.
Yeah.
So, but the recovering process is sometimes very slow. So I decided to go into coaching, and the first thing I did actually was to ask myself if I have what it takes to be a coach, if I can coach, if I have the temperament, if I have the desire. And the second thing I told myself was I don't want to go into coaching based on because I'm an ex-player. I don't want to do that. I want to be in a position to provide solution to my players. So actually, I attended all my courses in Spain. I did all the, in Spain or in Europe, there is first level, second level, and third level.
Yeah.
And the third level is what enables you to coach any team, both the national team, both the first team. So I did every team. It was not easy also. So then after that, I have a little bit of, contact with team, because along the process of the coaching course you are doing, you must do practical, what we call practical. Is those practical you have to spend with team, maybe in a season, in a youth team, or in a third division team or a preferent team, like we call it in Spain. Preferent lead to the third division. So you have to do the practical, and, I was able to do all these things. Then 2007, I was given the opportunity by Jose Moraes. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, of course I know. He was assistant coach also from Jose Mourinho.
Jose Moraes was then in Saudi Arabia, Al Hazem. Then he gave me the opportunity to come and be his assistant in Saudi Arabia. Although I was there just for 6 months with him, then I left. Then I have to involve also in Manchester. When Kerosh was in the coach in Manchester, then he connected me over there to do some work for them in terms of scouting. So I was sent by Manchester United to the AFCON in Ghana, I think 2008. In Ghana. So I was there representing Manchester United. I was the one also that facilitated the signing of Manuchu from Angola.
Yeah, Manu. So, I remember very well. Yeah.
Then after that, then I was given opportunity for the national team 2000. And although I went back to Nigeria, I picked up the team that I played that before I left Nigeria. Julius Berger, they were not in a good position. So I was approached by the president if I can, lend a hand to the team. So I said, okay, this is my team. There is no no doubt about that. This is where my roots, I started my professional, and this is what gave me the platform to come to Egypt. So I went there, I coached with them, and I was able, to secure them not to go to relegation. Then I left. I coached the first team. We call it a Premier League, Nigerian Premier League, first division. I coached there called Ocean Boys. Then actually I left also. I was not able to complete the season with them. Then 2012, I was given opportunity to come and involve in the national team with Nigeria in the under 17, but in the capacity of as an assistant coach with Manu Gaba, who was the head coach then, and then Ndoko Gwade and Emeka Amadi, the goalkeeper trainer. So I was there with them. We won the World Cup in Dubai, 2013, and then 2015. I was given the opportunity to head the team, and then we went to Chile. We won the cup. The players that Napoli signed now, Osimhen, Chukwueze, Nwakali in Huesca, all these players are the product of that team. Then 2020, I was with the under 20. I moved to the under 20. But unfortunately for us, in the last game we lost, we couldn't qualify. We won in Sudan, and then we lost in Nigeria 4-2. We couldn't qualify. So I decided to actually move out of the Nigeria environment to try something else. So I went to Sudan the same 2017-18. Before 18, I was in Sudan. Then unfortunately, again, the team, they had a financial crisis. So I have to leave. And I was called up by FIFA to be in the technical study group in Russia. So I was in Russia with the FIFA technical study group. And after that, I went to Tanzania to qualify Tanzania for a very long time. After 39 years, we qualified 2019 in the AFCON. And then after the AFCON, I left. Today I'm in Egypt. Initially, I was with a team. I was the team coach. They brought me as the team coach. But after some times, and then they said they want me to work in the capacity of technical director, But I wanted to leave because that is not what actually I came here for. But the president, he pleaded that with my experience, they want me to help them. Actually, okay. I said, okay, I listened to him because sometimes also you have to be humble to listen to people. So I listened to him and I tried to see how we can do things. That's why I'm in Egypt. And that's what I'm doing. But actually, my main target is coaching because I believe more, of course, technical director and coaching is similar, but the difference is that you are dealing with the players directly. You are trying to find solution. You are trying to see how you can build a strong team. You are trying to see how you can be in a position to compete with the rest of the team. Why technical director, you are the one trying to structure the style, the system. What kind of players are you bringing in that will fit into the team? So all this kind of thing. That's why I'm here. But like I said, my intention is to coach, and for me, I'm open. I'm a blonde guy, and I did all my coaching in Spain. But we all understood the situation in Europe. They find it difficult to give confidence to a black man to coach in their league, and it's very annoying. To be very honest, it's very, very sometimes annoying and frustrating that you did your coaching course in Spain. And you did everything, you have the qualification, you have at least done some certain coaching activities that the whole world know you have coached. But when it comes to the opportunity, you are not getting it. So it's a kind of frustrating. But at the same time, you cannot lose hope in what you believe in. You just have to stick to your plan. You have to stick to your belief. You have to start going around. And that's why we are moving around. For me, I love to, if I can have opportunity to coach in Portugal, to coach in Spain, I will be more closer to my family, but the situation is not, is not permitted for most of us. But we all understood. We all are systematically, you've been discriminated systematically. You find it difficult to fit into the system. I have heard a lot of folks saying that black guys cannot handle a team. They don't have the capacity. But of course, that's the belief they have, that people cannot coach. But like I said, we are quiet. We are not the type that make noise. We are not the type that come and try to convince people we do. No, we are not. We are focused. We are humble in our way. We are respectful to people. We are respectful to our job. And we try to do the best we can in every occasion, every opportunity we have. I think this is how I see things. But we never give up. And we continue to, to push in our own little way. And hopefully one day somebody can see reasons in what we are pushing. Somebody can say, why can't you give this guy opportunity? Because it's, to be very honest with you, it's sometimes frustrating that when you play in Portugal, you play in Spain, and everybody knows you. People knows what your contribution. But when it comes to coaching, nobody wants to give you opportunity. So it's frustrating. But you respect people's decisions. You respect people's opinion. It's people's opinion and decision, and you respect it. You just have to be whom you are.
That's true. That's thank you for sharing that. And I think you said amazing things. And the first one that I admire a lot is like you said, you did an exercise with yourself when you finish your football career, and you thought about yourself. You ask yourself if that's what you want to do. And that's an exercise that is very important in life, that we ask questions to ourselves and to be honest to ourselves. So that's something, because only the great ones ask themselves if that's what they question themselves, because the easy way is to finish career as a professional footballer and go for a coach, but maybe you don't like it. And like you said, it's something that you've been investing in, something that you like. Unfortunately, about the opportunities, we watch in these days this is like a kind of thing like in the old times, when we were both younger. Also, the coaches were like older, you only give opportunity to older coaches. Now you see coaches that they don't have any experience. They are very young, like you see, like they are good, So it doesn't mean that because they are old, because Jorge Jesus is old or Nagelsmann is young, it doesn't mean they are not good, It's the same thing, but the color of the skin doesn't make any difference, or you are good or you are not good. Doesn't matter if you are from Africa, from Asia, anywhere. Hopefully football can also see that, and all. That's a problem in all the world. It's not only in football, but let's hope that the things become more fair, because when you can see the capacities depend on each person. And I was gonna tell this afterwards, but I will tell you now. And I think you don't get it wrong that I share with people, that I remember exactly when I was telling you on the phone when you spoke, it's an honor to me. You said to me, my friend, we are all the same, and doesn't matter the career, the name, or nothing. We are all humans, and that shows your the humble way that you are. And that's what it matters in the end of the day. You do your work, you are serious in what you do. That's why you achieved the career as a player that you achieved, and that you will achieve and you are achieving already as a coach. Because can take a bit longer, maybe, but for sure it's in the right way,
It will be you're right.
Yeah,
every journey is different.
Yeah, exactly. It's better to build a house that properly and it lasts long than to build quickly and
it collapse.
It collapse, exactly. So I agree 100% with you. So that's it. So Emmanuel, can you share with us? It's also a curiosity. I like always to ask, because it's I think people with your knowledge are always an example for the youngest generations. I also like to bring people that I admire inside and outside the pitch, because I think in these days, you can read many books. Of course, courses are important, many things are important, but it's also important to know, to have like guidance from people that actually, not from everybody, you need to do your own scouting. Usually I say that the guests that I invite, I do my own scouting. Why I don't invite just someone by their name or I ask interesting people. I invite interesting people. I do my own scouting in that part. So can you share with us how it started your career when you were young? You're always thinking about to being a football player. When did you start to believe that you could become professional? Have you ever thought in your head that you could play one day for Barcelona? If you can share briefly how it was.
Well, I think, first of all, I would say talent is a gift. I think from my family, even my father, he played the game, but unfortunately not to the level we obtain or acquire. But when it comes to my family, Amunike family, we have a lot of players. Even last time I went there, I saw young kids playing. I was kind of watching and trying to pay attention. Actually, we started from community football, school football. At the age of 4, I moved down to the village. I grew up with my grandmother and my grandfather. But at the age of 10, I moved back to Lagos because my parents, they were in Lagos, and what brought me back to Lagos was the same football. There are a lot of complaints from people, telling my mother, this your son, he doesn't pay attention, he's always playing football, he's this, that. So, you remember those days then when you're a footballer, people intend to consider that footballers are not educated, they are illiterate and all kind of things. Not now, every parents want their child to play football because a lot of money involved. So my mother came one afternoon, and then she had a discussion with my grandfather that she's taking me back to Lagos, and my grandfather was kind of that she shouldn't take me. But eventually she took me back. But taking me to Lagos is like opening a new door for me. When she sent me to go and buy water and this, first I will play football before I bring the water. So it's like everything is involved about me is football. Then I started knowing people. I started joining the street football. Where we used to live, we used to have teams. They used to go every Sunday. They go and play. Initially, they invited me to come and play. And they never allowed me to play, actually. They say I'm a goalkeeper because I started as a goalkeeper. They always put me to be the goalkeeper.
Okay.
So after 1 month, I was lucky. One day, one match, our striker did not come. And then we had 2 goalkeepers. And now we were arguing, who is going to strike? I said, let me strike. They said, okay, let's see him. Let's see how he plays. Then after that was how, they realized that this guy can play football. And then in the primary school also, we have what we call headmaster corps, where all the school play against each other to know the champion of the team in the primary school level. But also both in secondary school also, we have what we call also principal corps. We played also. So I was much involved in all these tournaments. I think when I was in class 2, I started playing for the senior team. They started inviting me. I was playing. So I'm kind of, I'm a guy that is, I don't accept no. This is one thing about me. In what I do, I don't accept. If you tell me I'm not good, I respect your opinion, but I don't tell myself that I'm not good. I keep on working. I'm a guy, when there is a trial, nobody invite me. I can go by myself. And when I get there, I say I came for the trial. They give me opportunity. I play. So this is how I started, on my own. I have desire to play football. I have interest to play football. And then coming to Lagos is a kind of, big. This is when we start seeing the national team playing. Then a few matches that were showed on TV, you start knowing the impact or the importance of the national team. We start seeing players. The first time Nigeria won the under-17, that was 1985. The people that played in China, I think against German national team, we won. So the treatment the players that played then came, they were like kind of hero. Everybody recognized them. So football begins to pick more interest. A lot of clubs, also a lot of companies, they have youth team. They play in the league. So basically, if you cannot play direct to the league from this youth team, state league, you can gradually, team can discover you. I think this is how my interest, and from the school I was attending, we used to do road work. I organized with my colleagues. I would tell them, let's do road work. So each time we make road work to the national stadium, where we have our national stadium, I always lost that ambition that one day I want to play here. One day I want to play here. And eventually it came before Nigeria play one qualifying game, They organized youth boys to come and play, first to entertain the crowd around 11 o'clock in the morning. So we went. That was the first time I played there. I was so excited. I was so happy. And then gradually, I moved to Julius Berger, the team that I played before. Actually, from Niger Loss state team, I was playing in Niger Loss. It was from Niger Loss. I moved to Julius Berger, from Julius Berger then to Zamalek. But football it comes from you. It's not something that they force you. It's a passion. When you are passionate about something, when you love what you are doing, it's like coaching also. People don't involve into coaching because of the money this hearing or the money they want to make. You must love the job. You must have passion about it. And then through the process of what you're doing, you will acquire experience. You will make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. You will correct your mistakes. But those process of challenges is what will put you in a position where you start seeing the mistakes that you have done previously. Then you can really adjust. You can really adapt. I think this is how I can describe my football. Even up at my age, 50 years in December, I'm still passionate about the game. I go out to play with friends. So football is like a life to me. It's what makes me happy. It's what gives me joy. Sometimes if I don't play in a week, I feel anxious. I feel anxiety. I feel like something is missing. There is something. But the moment I play, I got that relief. I say, oh, I'm feeling better today. So that's a little bit about my story about football from the village and how I came back to the Lagos. And eventually, that is what the Lord has for me, that this is the path you're going to play.
Thank you for sharing that. And let's say that just a challenge. So do you think if you were staying as a goalkeeper, do you think you were going to take Peter Rufai from the goal, or Peter will be the main goalkeeper anyway?
No. Peter will be the goalkeeper. But it's a test of faith. What actually happened is even what I saw. When you go to watch the kids playing, sometimes like the kids in the 7 years, maybe they only have one goalkeeper. Sometimes they bring in a player to come and keep. To rotate, to teach the player. So, maybe at that time we are not seeing it as process of learning also. We just see it as, why must I keep? But, as football is evolving now, you can see sometimes a goalkeeper my player might end up being a goalkeeper of a team, saving the team. So I think it's very, very interesting, but I can never take over Rufai.
Of course.
That's not my call.
But I think it's a bit relieved that you chose to be a left winger. So, but if you were sent off, you were one of the players that you could go. Sometimes the player needs to go to the goal, so you had that capacity. So let's move on. So how it came across to you, the opportunity to go to play in Egypt for Zamalek? because it wasn't so so usual, like a player with your quality and being playing in Zamalek. So how it came the opportunity?
Well, the opportunity came. I was with the national team under 23 in the Olympic team. I think that was my first national team. I never played in the under 17, under 20. I was in Julius Berger. I think after our game, a friendly game we had with the Super Eagles, and after that, the coach called me, Christian Chupu, and he asked me, what is your name? And I told him. Then the next 2 weeks, I saw my name in the newspaper that I've been invited with the national team. And then, well, I went there. That was my first time in the national team. I went there and I was able to establish myself as a player. And the coach, find me interesting and find me that I can contribute something to the team. Then we came to Cairo, All Africans game with the national team. That was our group was against Egypt. The first game in Ismailia, we played that game. We won the Egyptian 2-1. I scored the second goal. I think after then, from there, they start picking interest in me. So actually, I never knew what was happening. I was with the national team. We have gone to Holland for preparation for this tournament. And some few teams in Holland, they were interested in me. After the game, each games we play, many teams, they started showing interest. They say, this guy, we would like to have him. But, I was not keen. Not like now, many players, where do I go? I was not that focused about going, I just want to play. I want to play. I understood the situation at home. My parents, my sisters were living in one room with my aunts. So the situation, so for me, having the privilege playing in Julius Berger, national team helped a lot because I also had an opportunity of going to university. So, but I have to make a decision, executive decisions. What do I do? To the university, to Julius Berger. Julius Berger, then they were offering me good money compared to them, that at least with that money I can support the family. With that money I can support in all ways. So I declined of going to university. I took the football. That was how I started. So after the tournament, then somebody said, they want to see, some team wants to see us. That's okay. I went there. We got there. They spoke. They said they wanted us. That they like me and Babangida, Tijani Babangida. That they wanted us. Yeah.
On the right. So you were on the left and you were.
Yeah. He was on the right. I was on the left. They wanted both of us. We said okay. We went back to Nigeria. Then when we arrived, I think the same week, the Zamalek officials, they came to Nigeria. They started discussing with my club, Julius Berger, and eventually they had an agreement. So they let me go. And, well, I look at it as an opportunity also to my career, and it will boost my career. Then I came to Egypt. But on getting here also, it was a very kind of help because from tactical point of view, different style of playing, different culture of football, I was able to, to adapt, and it gave me more sense of insight about how Egyptian football, and I think that also make it much easier for me to function as a player. And I was lucky, when I came, the team, they have stayed almost 4 or 5 years without winning anything, and when we came, the 4 years or 3 years I stayed with them, we were able to win everything in Africa, both the domestic, both the continental. Then after the World Cup in USA, that was when the president of Sporting came directly, that he wants to take me, that he doesn't care. And that was how I left. I went straight to Portugal.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when I came to Portugal, there was issue because
I remember you had a contract with Duisburgo in
it's not that I had a contract with Duisburg. It's when they approached me in Holland.
Yeah.
After a game we played against them, they fell in love. They came straight to our hotel, and then they approached me, and I told them that I still have contract, but it's not in my power. That they have to go to Egypt. Immediately they arranged a flight. The next day they left. So I think when they came to Egypt here, they reached agreement with the club. Then, unfortunately, after the World Cup, the club, they felt my price is much higher due to my performance, what they have seen. So then Sporting came with the interest of they don't care. They want to take me. Then this was how the whole thing was a little messed up for me. So I couldn't play. And I also look at the team that is offering me much better wages. And when I get to Sporting, I find out that they really needed me because I think I was there for 4 months without playing.
Yeah, I remember.
I was training. I was kind of frustrated. I was in a hotel, a Holiday Inn, close to the airport. I was with Nuruddin Nebet in the same hotel. But, the treatment, the confidence I was getting from Kerosh, from the president, time to time, the president we drive in to check our well-being. And, I was quite comfortable in times of, okay, but I was also frustrated because I want to play.
Yeah.
Training is totally different from match game. But I was happy that at the end of the day, everything was resolved and I was able to contribute my part to Sporting.
Yeah. I still have the newspapers when you arrived and when you trained. I remember when you stayed only training, and I was waiting to watch you actually playing. But it was a decision, and it was not easy. But do you remember when you heard about Sporting? How it was the feeling that you could join a team like Sporting for you and play in Portugal?
Well, to be very honest to you, I have not heard much about Sporting.
Okay.
The team I have when I was here, is Barcelona. I saw.
Yeah.
The 92 Champions League against Lazio or Sampdoria. I can't remember. Sampdoria.
It was with Ronald Koeman goal.
Ronald Koeman scored. Yeah. So that was the first time I saw Barcelona.
I think, yeah.
And kind of say, this team, you would like to play in this team. And, Sporting actually, I can tell you, I don't have much ideas, but I knew there was these 3 big teams in Portugal, which is Benfica, Sporting, and Porto. But the history, I don't know much.
Yeah.
Because I know that there was an Egyptian guy, Captain, what is his name, that plays in Bovista from Egypt, Majdi.
Yeah.
From Egypt. So we know about Egypt, Portuguese league, but about Sporting, I don't have much information. But when the opportunity came, I'm not scared of challenges.
Yeah.
Once I made up my mind on things, I'm ready to go for it, knowing that it will not be easy. But of course, in Sporting, it was okay because also you met a lot of good players, around you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. When you arrived, were you surprised with the quality of those players because you when you played at Sporting, actually Sporting had a great team, they were hiring good players. They also had players like Luis Figo starting.
Yeah, you have Luis Figo, you have Balakov. You have Marco Rele, our central defender.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have Xavier that plays in Spain.
Yeah.
You have Oceano. Yeah. You have Sapito. So we have good team that time. But of course, when you are not involved directly in the game, it's difficult to really quantify or to say you're going to contribute. But of course, when I remember it was 2-3 days when I got my release from FIFA. that I can play now. And I remember that game. I think it was against Jeremiah, or what do they call the team in Sporting?
Yeah.
And that was my first game. That game was around 3:00. And I think I scored. And, that was how I was able to make my presence, recognizing the team that I have something to offer. And from there, the whole players, they respect me, they love me, they took me as one of them. And it's always important, when you go to a team, and if your teammate, they can have that sense of belonging that this guy, he's here also to add value. They recognize your quality, they recognize your personality, they recognize you as a person. I think, it goes a long way in terms of adapting. It's like when I went to Barcelona, and when I came already, probably I was lucky. I played with Luis Figo. Yeah. And probably Balakov and Stoichkov would have asked Balakov, what kind of guy is this? You understand? So yeah. I think Figo also made it much easier for me to adapt. Already he knew the kind of person I am. He knew me as a player. And then my adaptation with the players in Barcelona was much easier for me, the way you expected. Everybody respect me. Everybody, try to, to make things easier for me. And it was much appreciated from my part to them. So I think Sporting is a big team, but when you arrive there, you start getting the history. You have Benfica that is almost 5 minutes drive away to you.
Yeah.
Then Porto is in the north. That's totally different. So you have a rivaling team. Half of the city either is Benfica or Sporting. So you start knowing where to go, where not to go. Start knowing how to behave, where not to behave, because everything can be used against you. Yeah. In football aspect. So you don't want to bring disrespect to the team. So, but for me, I could say very big thanks to Kerosh, because he stood, even in those difficult times, he stood, he believed in me. He believed that I can add something to the team. And, he made it easier for them to finally, negotiate and set me free to play. So I always appreciate him. The last time I saw him was in England during the FIFA award. I was so happy to see him. He was so happy to see me. We shared memories and a lot of things. He said, he didn't remember something like this, something like that. I said, mister, I didn't remember. He said, you remember in a game we were losing, I think, against Bovista. And I was telling you, you should push, you should go front. And you came and you told me, mister, did Vujasi need help? I need to come back. That's why I'm coming back to help. And then he said, okay. So he remained. I said, mister, I said, me in the game, I'm a player that I always make myself available to help my teammate, because I believe I'm like kind of box-to-box player.
Yeah.
I'm not a player that depend on you give me ball. I'm a fighter. I can fight, I can play, I can give to others. Complete. So, but, I'm really grateful to have that experience. And I'm even happy that even up to today, unfortunately, I have not been able to maintain that relationship with Portugal. I have been in Portugal, I think 2013, when I came with my academy. We were involved in the EBA Cup. Yeah. We won that EBA Cup. Even this player, Samuel Chukwueze, that is in Villarreal, most of these players were there in that team. So, but, I also went to Sporting, their new facilities where they have their training. I went there to see them, to see some of the people that I knew. Of course, there has been a lot of change. So for me, I'm grateful to Sporting for giving me the opportunity to have played in their beautiful club. Well, I hope you can never tell. I hope one day I will have the privilege to come down there to see people. But, the nature of our...
If possible, to stay as a coach and then working here.
Well, you can never tell. You can never tell.
So, yeah, it's a beautiful story, because, like you were saying, like you only wanted to enjoy to play football, and you had a dream to play in Lagos, the stadium, the national stadium, and you played. and then you have a dream to play for Barcelona, and you played. So it's not everybody that is watching Barcelona Champions League final in Wembley, and you say, I want to play in this team, and after a few years you are playing in there with all those players. It's something amazing. Let's go more to the subject, to the African football.
All right.
You feel like in the last 30 years, let's put this in this way, last 30 years, do you see a massive improvement in African soccer and Nigerian in particular, of course, or do you think that much more things could be done so far, in your opinion?
Well, I think African football, we have grown, we have developed, but we shouldn't forget that road to success is always under construction. So we cannot say because suddenly we start having players playing at top level in Europe, we have arrived. We have to see how we can develop the ones playing in African continent. We have to see how we can emphasize more on our youth. We have to see how we can do away with the ideas of only a player is talented. We have to see how we can build a player to understand more than just dwelling on talent. You and I know now that football has gone beyond just talent.
Yeah.
No matter how talented you are, if you don't have other factors that requires to complement those talents, you have no chance of winning. If you don't have the desire, if you don't have the tactical discipline, if you don't have the mental discipline, if you don't have the social aspect in terms of your dealing with people, because modern football now, you can't do away with the social aspect. You're interactive with people, you are interactive with your surrounding. These are key. How you relate with your teammates, how you relate with people around you. So these are key. So we Africans, it is true we have been going to a lot of World Cup, and it is true that people have been, giving us hope that Africa is going to win World Cup. We have what it takes to win World Cup, but we cannot win World Cup just merely by talking.
Yeah, that's interesting you say, because and you spoke about a person that many people in Portugal unfortunately don't give him the credit that he deserves. That is Carlos Queiroz. And to give you an example, Portugal in '89, so we are talking about exactly 31 years ago. He was the first one, to start to build actually a project for the Portuguese football. And you see that Portugal to win a European championship is not a World Cup, it's a European championship.
European, yeah.
It took 30 years, We had gold generation with Figo and everything. We didn't win. So it was a 30 years process to win European championship. And it all started with Carlos Queiroz building a structure that we didn't have. And we are talking about Europe, that in principle, the things are easier, You have access to more things. So I think, in my opinion, and I'm going to tell you this, I think it's pretty much clear that the future is in Africa, African football, the African talent, and everything. The things need to be proper done. But like you said, also usually this is like everything. Where there is talent, or where there is gold, or where there is always people trying to take advantage. Like. You see, Africa doesn't have only talent, also have natural resources.
Yeah.
And people are there, unfortunately, to take only the resources and then the things happen. This world is like it is, because people just take and don't bring nothing back. So I think in football it's quite the same. But the thing, in your opinion, do you think that the fact that so many players let's talk about Africa in general, but of course in particular more in Nigeria, but you've been traveling all over Africa, so pretty much the reality also in other countries, and it's not so different. I would say more North Africa and South Africa are a bit different, but the rest in general, let's say the top teams in Africa.
In Africa, yeah.
Like Ghana, like Cameroon, like Senegal. Of course, Nigeria, it's top because it was probably the first one to have great teams, and also Cameroon. But do you think the fact that there are many agents, there are many promises, that unfulfilled promises to players, those kinds of things are the big problem in the African football, and you lose a lot of talent because there are many promises of people that just want to use the players and actually don't care about their career. This is not only a subject. This is not football only, because behind the player there is a person.
Of course.
So this is like something much bigger than football. But we are talking about football. Do you think that's the main problem, where people see that a player can cost a very low amount, but he can be evaluated in millions, and that can happen in Africa. You see African players that they are cheap, they come to Europe, and after you have plenty examples, and but the problem is, like, do you think that should be investigated or better regulated the way that the African players come to Europe? Do you think that should happen or not?
I think it has to be regulated in terms of doing the right thing. You and I know that if you go to Portugal now to get a player, no matter the category, even in first division, second division, there is a guidance that guided that player. There is a norm. Yeah. People cannot just come and take player. But the fact remains that in Africa, things are not well structured. So the organization is not all that structured in terms of. So most of the agents that comes to Africa to take player, one thing most of them target is they look at the background of the player. And they look at where the player is coming, the poverty from the family. So they can easily walk their way and see the family and get what they want and take the player. At the end of the day, the player is on his own. But what I'm saying is, if we in Nigeria can regulate things, because we want our players to be at the top level. Yeah. We are not arguing that our players should be signed 50 million. We know it's not easy. You cannot compare the process and the learning process of European player and African player, because most of even the agent, their eyes are on the national team. So they only focus on the national team, but there are other teams. But, we have various academies in Nigeria. The bodies that represent football can regulate this. I can tell you since 2012, the academies have been the supplier of players to the national team, not even the league. Most of the players, all these players, none of them play in the league.
Yeah.
So the league in questions, they are not ready to accommodate young players. Okay. The problem is when you go to the World Cup, of course, we all know the ambition of going to Europe to continue our career. But the fact is that not everyone will go to Europe. Then the few ones that are privileged to be spotted by European club and sign can continue. The ones that we are not able to make it can be enrolled into the league in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Where they continue to have that continuity and learning process. We shouldn't forget that adaptation is totally different. Human beings, people adapt differently. Some adapt quick, some adapt slowly. But when you...
Yeah, that's something, sorry to interrupt you. That is something that I was going to ask you, actually, because also you've been a scout, and I'm also a scout, and you know very well that the adaptation can be the most important part of it, and you are spot on what you said. Like do you think the scouting should be properly done, and also the players should understood, because some players can adapt easily to one league to another one to give better conditions. Because this is my understanding, what I see is like, it seems like bringing player, like you bring 10 or 20 players from Africa to a team, to Portugal, for example, and you just put them playing, but you actually bring 20 and you are waiting for one or two to play, and the others you don't care. So don't you think the process should be done first with good scouting in Africa, and not bringing 20, maybe bringing two, and give them the conditions, and also understanding that the mentality in Europe, depending on the country where you come from, and providing them also time, also providing them the tools for them to understand how the game is played in here, to be patient with them, to invest on them. Or this is what concerns me, honestly. It's something that when I'm involved in scouting, it's something that concerns me is that fact, that you see that then the agent just leaves the player on the side. They don't, many times they need to go back to Africa, and they didn't even have the time or the or someone that was actually teaching them things that they need to understand. Of course, they have the academies in there, but also they need to understand that the life in here is different, and the illusions are different. When an African player is coming to Europe, if he goes to a reality where he can get everything, he can get the money, it's very easy to lose, to lose yourself as a person. So do you think the scouting should be properly done, and only bringing players actually with a strong mentality, with a way to learn, that the clubs in Europe, that we are talking Europe, but because it's usually where it's the
players want to go
players.
and
Yeah, exactly. So do you think the clubs that and you can see that in many clubs in Europe, that they are better prepared to get African players or even Brazilians? Every nation is different, but the talent is there. We are talking about also talent.
Well, I think the important thing is that one, things has to be well regulated.
Yeah.
Second, the academies back home need support.
Yeah.
Because most of these academies, for example, in Nigeria, are individuals being run from their pocket. So then you find it very difficult, because the main priority most is they want to sell. So, but if there is a kind of support coming to them, then they will be in a position to develop their players, because at the end of the day, the end product is not in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The end product is in Europe, in Spain, where your players can fit in. But also there has to be education in terms of educating the coaches. You and I know the coaches that coach the youth players from the age of 6 or 5. Yeah. It's not the same coach that coach a team of professional team.
Yeah.
There are coaches. So we have to invest to develop our coaches on this capacity. We have to make common ground for our coaches where we can help them, where we can have a clear terms in terms of this is the operational mood of how we want to function. Now, what Europe are doing now, what are they doing? They invested in all over the state. You invest in how do I say? You invest in Lisbon. You invest in Porto in the north. You invest in the south. Through the federations, through the regional federation, through the clubs. So the same philosophy, the same education, the same system, the same way is going around. So when you bring in a player from Lisbon, mostly on the youth level I'm talking about, you bring in a player from Lisbon, you bring in a player from Cascais, you bring in a player from Estoril, you bring in a player, they all already knew and understand what is being expected from them, what kind of philosophy, method. These are the areas, I've been emphasizing it. Africa should see it more important. These are the areas the federation should see it more important. Create a common ground. There is nothing wrong In Africa, for example, in Nigeria, you don't have youth league. So when you don't have youth league, most of these players, they are just training.
Yeah.
Training. There is no possibility to compete, to test. It's like going to school without exam.
Yeah.
After the exam, the course they give you, you have passed because you attended lecture. Yeah. You attended the course without proving yourself. So we have to look at how we can create a common ground where our generation, it might not be now, it might not be in the next 2 years, but we have to think ahead.
Yeah.
The next 4 generations, we have to start to recollect that task.
That's why I was asking you, in these 30 years, for sure, many things improved, like possibly the facilities and the training grounds and everything, the academies and everything. But the thing is, like, if you compare, you don't see 30 years after, you don't see better players, you don't see better generation. For example, in Nigeria, you don't see a better generation now than your generation. You don't see. The conditions are better, but you don't see the structure. Like you said, like youth leagues, you don't see like a national league because you have good conditions to have a national league. The players need to compete because it's in a competition that actually you can see how a player behaves, and it's not only in the training, you need all.
No, it's not. It's not in the, like, for example, I believe in Nigeria, if we can have, we are 200 million.
Yeah.
When we do proper research with honest people, because it has to involve with honest people also.
Of course.
People that cannot be compromised, people that knows what they want. So when you can have, let's say, you can have about 200 players. They might be in their state, they might be going to school.
Yeah.
But from the federation level, from time to time, you are doing visit with your team to look at the progression of these players in the contest, how they are progressing. You have their data already. Then, by the time they are growing from under 17 to under 20, you can have a bulk of players. Say, these 200 players is players we are looking onto. Like I said, adaptations are different. That these players, from the technical aspect to the tactical aspect to the physical aspect to the psychological aspect to the social aspect, these players are being trained from time to time. Now you begin to identify this group of players can be playing in their league, but this group of players are players that we are looking onto that in the next 5-10 years, we will be in a position to compete.
Yeah.
We will be in a position that we want to win AFCON. We will be in a position that we want to go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Even if we cannot win it, but we're going to make a statement. But we cannot have a team built just on 2-3 players and you're expecting to win. You have no chance. So these are the areas, like I have mentioned, talent. Like I said earlier, I was keen. That's why I asked myself, can I coach?
Yeah.
I don't want to relate into football. I don't have anything to offer. I cannot even bring in something on the board. No, we have to bring in something. We have to bring in our experience, because when we were playing, most of the team we knew now is not in our disposal. And our responsibility now is to see how we can pass this to the next generations.
Yeah.
And if we cannot pass it to the next generations of coaches, of players, there will never be any development. Because when you look at the diversity of Nigeria, Nigeria is a place, you have the ethnical, you have the religion, you have the culture. Everybody wants their players to be in the team. Everybody wants their players to make the team. Nobody even cares if this player can compete. So at the end of the day, you as a coach, you as a director, your responsibility is to do what is right. And what is right is to make sure that the people in the team are people that can play. You will offend people. It's normal. People will not be happy with you. But at the time, when the time comes, like I always say, time put people at the right place. So when the time we place you, at the right place. Like Osimhen today that was signed. Osimhen, he never had league experience.
Yeah.
He was somebody that used to sell on the street. Chukwueze, he never had league experience. 2015, Nwakali, no league experience. The other player in Betis, the central defender, no league experience. Two other players in Italy, no league experience. We took all these players from the street. But we knew that, okay, these players, they are from the street. They don't have league experience. They are good players. They are talented. We are no longer much interested about their talent so much. We are interested in their behavior.
The mentality. That's what I was gonna tell you, because I was actually, you can see players like for example Sadio Mane from Liverpool. It's his mentality. He keeps his feet on the ground. That's why he's one of the best players in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's because talent. Of course, Africa, there is a lot of talent. So that's why, in my opinion, the recruitment, you cannot only see to the talent. You need to see the talent. You need to see the social part. You need to see the mentality. You can see if he's strong mentally or not. You can see, what are his goals in the future, how he is as a person. So it's a very specific scouting in Africa. And because, you need to understand that those players also need a different kind of support. They need different things, So that's a work that is very hard to do, but I believe it can be done. Of course, we need to believe it. And there is one person that I believe you had the chance to work with, that is, one of the most successful coaches of all time, and Jose Mourinho. I believe
Mourinho.
You had a chance to work with him, in Barcelona.
In
Barcelona. And many people question, it's unbelievable how you can question a person that is with the titles he have or with everything he proved, but we know that football is unfair in many ways. But he said a few years ago that the future of football is in Africa. And of course, like we already said, we both agree. And you see several examples of players under Mourinho that like Didier Drogba, like Michael Essien, that even calls him a father. You can see Samuel Eto'o, that was a player that was already on the top level, but he learned a lot with Mourinho. Don't you think also that on the European side, it's missing that part, that kind of coaches that understand the mentality of the African player and gives them what they need? So it's not only, the fault is not only if we can talk about fault, but what is missing is not only in Africa, it's also in Europe. Is missing many times coaches that are also teachers, that know how to teach you, that know how to motivate you. Because if we all remember the story about Drogba, for example, and Drogba already said many times, Mourinho, when he went to Chelsea, could buy any player in the world, and he decided to buy Didier Drogba from Marseille. And even Drogba was surprised. And he became a legend he is, because he saw on him the capacities, everything he could give to the team, but also his mental part, He was willing to sacrifice himself for the team, like you were saying with Vujasic, and you were coming back to, but you need also to understand the player. And many times this is the impression I have. Many times, not many coaches have the patience to teach, or to not only the African players, but in general, where there is a talent. You see also with Brazilian players, but the main difference, for example, let's talk about in the world, the biggest talents, raw talents, are in Africa and South America, not only Brazil. But if you go to Brazil to buy a player, if the player is already have a reputation because there is a league where they can compete, the players already are very expensive, For example, if you go and buy, like Real Madrid went to buy Renier from Flamengo, they already paid lots of millions. But if you see a player with the same age coming from Nigeria or Cameroon, it's going to be cheap. because they are not competing. So the clubs should have they should understand this, because they can not only take the sports part from the player, but they can also have the return of the investment later on, and they can make a proper the things working properly. So I think that this part is missing on both sides, also the European clubs, to understand this, and it's hopefully that's going through. So to finish, just to ask, in your opinion, how do you see the fact that that most of the European national teams, not most of European, mostly, they have African players or players with roots in Africa? We are talking about, for example, Portugal. We are European champions at the moment, and we have players that were born in Africa. We have players that have roots in Africa. You see France, that they are the world champions, and most of the players are so
African root.
Yeah, of course. Or of course, many of them already were born in Europe, but the parents, they were raised by Africans. Many of them also were born in Africa. So, what do you think that is missing for it's that's what you said, the structure, or do you think also the player, when he have let's say players from France, when they have the opportunity to live in Europe and to train in Europe and to compete, they already mentally stronger, and makes them also believe on themselves a bit more? Because if those players can make it for France or for Portugal or for other teams, you see even African players now playing for Denmark, or for Scandinavian teams. That was almost impossible. So do you think that one day it will be possible for those players, for the African nations, to have the same level, because they have the same players?
Well, I think we shouldn't forget that most of the players that are born in Europe, the parents are Africans.
Yeah.
And they were born in Europe, in France, in Portugal. We shouldn't forget that these players, they grew up for example, in Portugal. All their life and all their friends, all their activities, their surrounding is in Portugal. And they started their playing with clubs in Portugal. So I think they have this capacity in terms of the adequate, proper learning of football they acquire through where they find themselves, which is a very well-structured plan, a very well-structured infrastructures, a very well-structured league at that particular time in their category. If they are in Benfica, if they are in Sporting, if they are in Porto, if they are in Guimarães, they went through process of learning and through process of adaptation. I think if you make something attractive, of course, you have to attract people by creating an environment, an ideal environment, where even if you bring these players from Europe, they want to come and play for their fatherland. And I don't think every player will love to play for his fatherland. But at the same time also, we have to realize that what are the possibilities, the facilities, the attractive we have created to attract these players. Yeah, we have, like Nigeria now, we have some players that were born in England that are coming to play for us. But the reality also remains, the ones back home, we must also try as much as we can. We cannot, let me be honest, we cannot be in European standard, but we can create an African standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Where our players can fit in. Most of us that went to the World Cup during the 90s, we were playing in Africa. We played in Nigerian League. From Nigerian League, we were discovered. Then we came to Egypt, I mean. So what I'm saying is, uh, you have to create a standard. You have to create an attractive environment where you bring in a player from Europe, bearing it in mind that this player that I'm bringing, first, he's not used to the environment. Second, you and I know in Europe, you play in the night with floodlight.
Yeah.
But in Africa, sometimes we play in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, very hot sun.
Yeah, the grass.
And most of these players are not used to it. The standard of the pitch is not what they see in Europe. So when you bring this kind of players, you must have patience with them. You must understand the scenario. But what I'm saying is, for me, there's nothing wrong in those players playing for Portugal, playing for Spain, because that is where they identify themselves. That is where they identify. France, we all saw France. They won the World Cup. It was full of African players.
Yeah.
But those players were born in France, and they schooled in France. They eat in French. They speak French language. All their life is French. So it will be very difficult to tell them, okay, don't play for France. But of course, they are in France, and the first opportunity will come for them because the French coach, national team will look at them. Okay, that player in Monaco, he's playing well. Invite him. He has French passport. So for me, I consider it open. Anybody can play anywhere he wants to. But what I'm concerned is we must find it as a must how we can develop the players that are playing in our local league. Yeah. How we can encourage the players. You see, Nigeria over the years, they started not inviting players from the domestic league. Will you blame the coach? You may say no. Because, okay, the league is not competitive, because the players are, they are not this. But I can also tell you, if those players playing in the Nigerian league, if you don't create an environment of learning for them, if you don't create a hope for them, they will never have the hope of dreaming to play in the national team. Yeah. So we must see a way where we encourage these players. We know they are not good. We know they are not to the standard of what we want. But like I said, adaptation is different. Give people opportunity. Give them time. Let them train with the professional, the so-called professional we believed. By the time they train 1 month, 2 months, 3 months with these players, their mentality will start to change. Completely. Their way of seeing things will start to change. But when we come, we say, because these players are not good, they cannot play. Because what we look in Africa is immediate result. Yeah. This is the major problem. We want immediate result. Yeah. We want to win now. We are not thinking of, we don't care how we win now, but we're not thinking of, we win today, tomorrow we don't have sustainability. Yeah. We want to win, but we can lose today, but we are working towards the direction of in the next 1 year we'll be very much stronger. Yeah, and you said a very, very, very interesting thing that you said. You don't need to copy Europe. You need to create your own style, and that's true. Because, if we see, even the European system is not perfect. We need to learn. For example, at this stage, the European sports business needs to learn a lot. For example, with the US, with America, in terms of how to build the sports. Yeah. But the United States also needs to learn with Europe. So this is all about learning with each other and develop their own, of course you cannot copy many things, but one thing you can see, for example, a player like Wilfred Zaha that was born in England, but he didn't get a chance to go to play for England, and he decided to play for Ivory Coast. So you see players like that, they are also important to grow, the national teams, and they have, of course you can, and you see other players like Sadio Mane, like we said, and we saw before also Adebayor for Togo, and we saw many players, and that we already also spoke about them, and that's the future, if you can develop more players like that,
And I believe that the national teams in Africa, in a few years, I will not say so soon, but in a few
No, it's
years,
not. It's not a so soon
like you said,
issue.
it needs to
You
have a
say you
plan.
need time. You
Yeah,
have to, you need time. You have to look at different species that you are bringing on board,
yeah,
because national team is not just about where you play.
yeah, exactly.
You have to look at the desire of the player. You
Yeah,
have to look at the player that can fit into your plans.
yeah, completely.
You have to look at the players that can bring something on board.
Yeah,
Because if you build your national team based on because where this player play, yeah, it's good, the name. But the
but
same players, will they give you what you want? We are aware, we all know that there are some players that are very good in their club, but they find it difficult to compete in the national team.
yeah,
And there are some players in their club, they doesn't look fantastic, but when they come to national team, they give you work that you're not even expecting. So it's a total different way of looking at things, but you have to look at what kind of people, players that am I bringing on board? What kind of players that can fit into the plan? Because it's planned. It's not just about assembling players and you train and you go. Even the players in question, you play in tomorrow game, they are looking onto you to give them feedback. They want to get results. They want to, coach, tell me the player I'm going to mark or the player that is going to mark me. You need to tell them they have to see the information. So
yeah.
when they start
Understand.
seeing this, it's not new to them. So,
Yeah,
but like you said, Africa, we have a long way in terms of going. If we can accept within ourselves that there is room for improvement, if we can accept that there is the same thing that goes into coaching.
yeah,
They always ask me, why is it that in Africa we are taking the Europeans? And I always said one thing to them, because the system in Europe prepare their coaches.
yeah. That's true.
If the system does not prepare their coaches, you will not go and take them. If the system prepare our coaches and we give them opportunity, there will be mistakes.
Yeah,
We are not expecting because you give him a job, then he's going to do miracle. No, there will be mistakes.
yeah,
There will be moment of down. There will be moment of doubt. There will be moment of uncertainty. But you see, with those process, he's learning. But if you don't prepare your coach, then you come out and you go open, you say, your coach is not good. He's not tactically sound. But you have to ask yourself as an institution, what plan have I brought to develop the coaches?
yeah. The problem
What?
many times, yeah, exactly. The problem many times are the egos. The egos of the people that they don't understand each other, like in the federation or with the coach, because are the egos. They are not all going to the same way. Same path. We had that example with Jorge Jesus that when he went to Flamengo in Brazil,
Yeah, yeah,
everybody was questioning. He was not good. He was old. He was not a great manager. Why should we bring like a guy from Portugal that only trained Benfica? And you see what he did.
yeah,
He's a god in there. So because they gave him the conditions inside the club, they were all wanted to have success. But in football, many times it's the egos, like you said, the interests. But hopefully, and like you said, very wise. I hope more people think like you in Nigeria, and that people need to understand, that possibly Nigeria can be the first one to give the step to improve, to make the things properly, to create a plan, even if it's 10 years or 20 years. It cannot be every year the year zero, because if you are always you just go ahead 1 year and then you go back and then you go ahead and then you go back, you are always on the same
yeah,
same way. So let's hope that that the things are going to improve. Of course, the things with the time they have, it's more likely to improve, but it's also needs hard work and
of course.
honest people, and
Yeah,
especially like in the main interest needs to be the football, the sports, and the people that actually are the players that are the most important ones, and the coaches be Another problem is also that many coaches from youth teams, they want straight away to go to the senior squad if they do well, so we don't create bases. That happens even in Europe now.
Yeah.
In the old times, you could see many coaches that were coaching 10 years, 20 years in the youth teams. They were references for the young players. So, but now you don't see that so much. The coaches stay 1 year, 2 years, and then they want already to have their opportunity. It's like the world. It is like many options, and that's it. So, Emmanuel, it's been a great honor, a great pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
We'll keep in touch.
All
So
right.
hopefully you enjoyed also. That's very important.
All
So
right. No, it was great.
thank you very much, and see you soon. Okay?
All right, my friend.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. Take care. Thank you.
And my regards. Yeah, thanks.